All right, welcome back to the Four Elements Press LGBTQ author interview series. Today we're with Esteban um, Guillermo Zanetti,
Yes,
and
that's my pen name. Yes.
yes, and we are gonna get to know him a little bit better. He is an author who's going to be featured in the LGBTQ author interview or LGBTQ author short story collection, coming out
Mm.
from Four Elements Press later this year. And you, at the end, towards the end of the video, we'll talk a little bit about his short story that's going to be featured. But first, we'll get to know you a little bit better. Welcome to the channel, Esteban. How are you?
Good. Thank you
Yeah,
for
let us know a little bit about how you started becoming a writer
writing.
or like where your inspiration to become a writer really came from.
I've always been a very creative person. When I was a little kid, I was always drawing. I was always on the swing, imagining whatever stories, scenarios, based on things that I liked at the time. Power Rangers, all that stuff. Um, and I just kind of went with that. When I was in high school, I started writing the story. I did later self-publish it in college. I'm not going to mention it because it's out of print at this point, and it being that it was one of my first stories, it's not very polished. As I know, I actually recently went back and started reading it, and it's not bad, but I could definitely see where I think now I would have written better. Um, so although there were some things that still impressed me. Anyway, so I did
Well,
write that. That was
that's
in high
also like a
school.
good trajectory for the writing life too, because sometimes our
Hmm.
first publications are something we have to really get out into the world,
Hmm.
because it's the first and then continue to grow. So that's a really important point to kind of reflect on too.
Yeah, again, I forget how I found, I self-published kind of online. Um, I probably sold 5 copies, which I'm sure was all family. Um, and I actually, they gave you the big book of the, or big box of books. I only have one copy left because I had given some out too, or let lent some out, and I just never got them back. So yeah, I only have one version left. Um, but yeah, that aside, I have continued to write. It's always been a passion of mine. Um, Whenever I have free time in the last couple of years, it's been um, a little more difficult with, just being an adult and finally feeling like that. Um, Obviously, when I was younger in my 20s, when I was traveling in Europe, um, anytime I was on the bus or on the train or plane, I was writing. And yeah, like I said, I've always trying to find time to write something. So,
Yeah. Yeah, so it kind of started really as a passion of writing in general. Um,
yeah.
a lot of different writers talk about what they read also that kind of inspired
Uh,
them to write. Do you have any particular genre that you really like to read? Even if you don't write that particular genre much?
hmm Yes, the main one that I have to say was probably my original inspiration, was Lord of the Rings, which obviously is a great story. I love fantasy. Ironically, more recently, I've been writing more like contemporary. I believe it's like new adult is the term, but definitely in my teens and 20s was all fantasy, especially medieval stuff. And so I think Lord of the Rings was after seeing the movies, and then being like, well, now I want to read the book. And to be fair, I started writing even before I read the book. However, I do think, at least when it comes to writing fantasy, that novel or series, whatever you want to call it, was a huge inspiration for me. So,
Yeah.
in terms of the way I wrote as well.
Yeah, I would say Lord of the Rings is probably up there as one of the top inspirations for writers these days that I've heard at least.
Yeah.
Um, so that's saying something. And
Mhm.
then did you kind of always want to write to publish, or did that, because I know we've had discussions in the past about you had some writing courses in college too that kind of
Mhm.
like inspired you a little bit to write to publish. Were you always planning on publishing, or did that come like after you've written a few different things and you were like, yeah, I want to share this?
Yeah, I mean, I always wanted to publish. I mean, I think as we've discussed too, yeah, I usually, need some kind of inspiration, at least to start a story. Sometimes it's just a single idea. And then from there, I just start writing. That's kind of how I've written the last two books. Um, and sorry, from there, so what I would do is once I just start writing, I mean, it just kind of flows out. And um, I feel like I'm missing the exact question again. I apologize. Well, can you say that one more time? Because I repeat
Yeah,
the question. I'm sorry.
yeah. Did you always want to write to publish, or did that?
Oh, yes, yes. Okay. Um, yes, because as I was saying that, yeah, I need the inspiration, or I would use that to start writing. And my idea was to um publish, but I mean, just share the story with whomever, right? Hopefully, particularly other gay uh, readers, maybe authors, as even when I wrote fantasy, I still had the main characters be gay, since I am, that was always, I don't want to say easier to write, but um, it just felt right, you know?
Yeah,
And it also felt that especially in fantasy, that's not something you have. Maybe there do exist, those books. I'm not aware of them, but I don't know of any fantasy that has like a gay lead. Um, and so I kind of wanted to be that. So I guess then to fully answer your question is yes, I definitely wanted my book to be published and known because I wanted to be that voice of having gay and fantasy put together.
yeah. I like that, and that's really important for greater representation because, like,
Right.
yeah, as you say, it's not as common, and
Hmm.
that's also part of like, well, a lot of writers that we talk to on the channel share that they want to give this genre kind of more options, especially for LGBTQ readers.
Hmm.
Um, and for you, it seems like it came very naturally.
Hmm.
For some
Yes.
writers, it's like, they have to make that conscious decision of, do I want to write LGBTQ characters or do I want
Hmm.
to not?
Right.
Um, so thank you for pursuing that because we love that. And
And yeah, it's being that voice that basically I did not have growing up. Right.
yeah, yeah. And um, I know the short story that is coming out also
Hmm.
features LGBTQ characters, so readers can
Yes. I
kind
think
of,
all my works do, to be fair.
yeah, good, good. You readers can get a little bit of a sample of your writing in there.
Hmm.
Um, Do you want to speak a little bit about your other publication, the one that is still in print?
Yes, I did. Actually, during the pandemic, um, I started writing a book. Um, to be fair, when OnlyFans, sorry, became a thing, um, it just kind of occurred to me one day. I was like, what happens if a parent found out that their child did this? And honestly, like I said, I just took that one idea and then I started writing. And actually, I don't know if you can see. So it's his once only son. That is the name of the book. So, and then I wrote this and I self-published again. Um, and it's, yes, just basically the story of a father who finds out that his son is obviously, having sex for money, kind of selling himself for money, and just everything, that implies and the family dynamics. Um, and it was just really fun to to um to write. I would say to read. I mean, yes, I think so. I've read it, but also obviously to write. And I mean, spoiler alert, but the son is bi. So again, he is with men and women. Um, so like I said, it was very fun to write. And it came very naturally. And I was very excited when I got it published about 3 years ago. It was September in '03. So yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Hmm.
Sounds like a really good read too. And I like
Hmm.
that how it tackles like a unique scenario, which might not
Right.
be so unique, but it's kind of outside of the ordinary like experience.
Yeah, it's not like again, it's something that at least again, I have not seen anywhere be mentioned, right? Like as far as books, TVs, movies, like I said, that's why I had that thought. It's like, what were to happen, if like a parent found this out? And not to jump the gun, but kind of going into the story for my short story that we're promoting here, I think is another topic that is not very, I want to say not as discussed so in-depthly. Um, it is common, I guess, just to say it real quick. It's a married man who realizes he's gay. And obviously that has happened in movies and stuff. But I feel, especially if you look back at the 90s, it was always treated as like a joke, a comedy. And I really wanted to like delve into that man, right? And like, what is he feeling? Like the everything that's going on, um, basically in his mind, right? And, like, still loving his family, but also realizing that, he'd rather be with this man, right? This other man. So
Yeah.
sorry if I got ahead of myself there.
No, yeah. It's a great
Segues.
like psychologically close narrative,
Hmm.
and it's fun at the same time because
Hmm.
you kind of go on
Oh
the
yeah, it was
roller
definitely
coaster
fun
of
to write.
emotion with him, and the
Hmm.
experiences and everything. And then at the same time, it's also kind of like it's close to what many people might feel, um, and what they might experience. And it's not too outside of the ordinary. Like,
Right now.
um,
I mean, it's definitely happening, like probably right now.
yeah. And then also, it kind of follows a story too of like not only just someone married and then coming out, but like
Hmm.
someone who might come out a little bit later in life just without
Right.
that
Yeah.
attachment. and
Right.
really kind of experiencing gay life for the first time in just at a different age, and then kind of what they
Yeah,
might,
not the usual 20s.
yeah, and what they might like notice or feel in kind of these gay locations. But then like also the the family could be like a stand-in too for like the work that they do. Like if they're not out at work, how do they kind of
Hmm.
manage that as they start to come out?
Yeah,
Um,
I get into all of that.
yeah. Um, so obviously representation seems very important to you and the message that you're trying to share with your readers. Um, do you have any particular kind of thing that you hope readers will kind of take away from your work, or advice for maybe like new readers or LGBTQ folks out there just trying to survive in the world?
Um, yeah, as far as what they hope to or what they take from either of my works, um, I mean, I just want them to enjoy it, you know. I want them to I mean, I wrote the books to be entertaining as well as I don't want to say I'm hesitant to say educational, but again, definitely delving into again topics that are not very common. They're difficult, right? It's not an easy road for any of these characters. Um, and I'm not saying that my way, the way I've written these, the way these characters go about things is right or wrong. Again, it felt like the best thing for, well, for me to write and for my characters, obviously at the time. But yeah, so I mean, I just want them to enjoy it. And again, maybe I guess the takeaway is to think about that a little bit. What these people are going through. Because again, I'm sure these people exist in the real world, right? We don't really get to hear about them. We don't really get their stories a lot of times. But these are real things. And the takeaway, and what was the other thing you mentioned? Sorry.
That you might like advice for
Oh,
LGBTQ
advice
people
for other readers.
or
Sorry.
writers too.
Yeah, fair. Just um, I guess everybody's writing style can be a little different. Like I say, for me, I I try to make the books entertaining and fun because that's more fun to write, you know? Um, so I mean, I would say definitely. So my advice to other any new writers would be make sure that you're enjoying it. Make sure that you're proud of it, because those are going to be the best stories. And I think that way you're going to get your point across, and you're just going to write better. Like the story is just going to come more authentically, and hopefully, again, as I'm hoping for the readers, um, that they enjoy it as well.
Yeah, and that message of uh write kind of what authentically comes is also kind of like a good like message for life in general too. Like do what authentically comes naturally to you, and you might feel better about it, but also like people around you might feel better about it too. In the
Mm,
way like readers will kind of like appreciate that too.
mhm,
And it's almost kind of like the write what you know a little bit um kind of message, but live kind of with that truth, and you people will notice, and you'll notice. Um, yeah, I am really excited to have your short story in the LGBTQ short story collection. I think
Mm,
everyone will really enjoy it.
I hope so.
It has the highs and it also has the lows. Um,
Hmm.
so it's not like too outside of kind of like life in general.
Hmm.
Which I think everyone will kind of appreciate too. And then um, I know you do kind of have the story as part of kind of like a full manuscript. So I'll
Hmm. Yes, I've worked on that.
yeah, so we'll have everyone follow you so that they can stay up to date on news with that.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, thank you so much for coming to the channel and sharing
Yeah.
your history and your what you're working on now and a little bit about, your future projects.
Hmm.
And
Yep.
we'll put your socials down in the description for everyone.
Sounds good.
And then everyone keep an eye out for the LGBTQ author short story collection. Esteban's story is going to be featured along with many other writers, and we'll have some maybe more discussions kind of as that comes out. Talk a little bit about the stories specifically, and yeah, thank you all for watching.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, see you all next time. Bye.
Yep. Bye.